Hello and welcome to another edition of the TimeFlies podcast. I'm your host, Dariel. If you're watching this on YouTube, you guys are going to be able to see a familiar face. If you guys are hearing this on any of the podcast streaming platforms, you're going to hear a familiar voice. But I got one half of the bonus room boys in the building virtually with me. I got my boy Steph in the building. Steph, what's good, bro? How you been, man?
I've been good, D. I've been good, man. It's been a busy, crazy summer.
It's been a fucking
But it's
minute,
basketball
bro.
season already, dude. What the heck? How did basketball season? I feel like basketball season never ends. It's like soccer. Because once like the finals are over, you got the draft, and then you
Yep,
got free agency, then you got summer league. And
yep.
then before you know it, it's like already season. So
It's
it's crazy.
training
So
camp.
yeah, it's never
Yeah,
ending.
nah. So we're actually recording this on the NBA opening day on a Tuesday. And this year I decided to do things a little bit differently. I wanted to just focus on a couple teams. And if you guys have listened to the podcast before, you guys know that Steph is a fucking Clipper head, ride or
Damn right.
die.
Damn
Steph,
right.
Steph and I, we've had some arguments and some discrepancies in the past. But one thing I do respect about Steph is he's always gonna ride and die for the Clippers no matter what. So
Fortunately, yeah.
to your face right now. So this episode, we're going to talk about the Clippers. We're going to talk to. I just want to hear your thoughts, your takes, your expectations. What do you think is going to go wrong? Do you think this is the year
Oh, a
that it might
lot.
fucking happen? But
Maybe.
yeah, before we get into that, I wanted to throw some things at you. I just wanted to throw some things at you as far as like what they did during the off season. Vegas
Okay.
projections, the projected starting five. Get your thoughts on
Uh-huh.
that. All right. So let's start off with the Vegas odds for the amount of wins in the regular season. So Vegas has 46 and a half wins. All right. Some
Okay.
some key additions in the off season. Honestly, you guys only made one. You guys picked up Kenyon Martin Jr. from the Houston
That's
Rockets.
it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like him. Young, athletic, spry, getting to the like his dad, just dunking on
I
people's
liked his
heads left and
dad.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys drafted Kobe Brown in the draft, so that's like another key addition. Not a key addition, but just another addition.
Do you know anything about I don't watch a lot of college ball. Do you know anything about Kobe Brown? That's a Missouri
Mm,
guy, yeah?
nah, man. Honestly, these last few years, I've been fucking dropping the ball with college ball. Honestly, man.
Yeah, because I know they got
So,
Kobe Brown and then they got some Jordan guy from Miami. They got
mm,
yeah, it was like a Kobe and Jordan thing.
we got a
But
phone. We got to phone into our boy Trent and Reed because I don't know anything about Miami.
well, it was University of Miami. University of
University of
Miami. Not
Miami.
yeah, it was University of Miami and yeah, and those are the two rookies they picked up because I did watch a little bit of the draft. I just want to see who the Clippers picked.
Subtractions. You guys let go of Eric Gordon, the
Good.
space the floor spacer, the guy who was a good shooter. You guys let him go. He went to the Phoenix Suns. As
Oh
far
shit.
last season, Bones Highland, he came to the team in a midseason trade, which I kind
Mm-hmm.
of liked. There was like I remember
Mm-hmm.
last season there was like rumblings that Bones Highland and the coach of Denver, Mike Malone, they weren't getting along. And I've always liked his game, but his game is just sometimes it just seems like it was a little like he was just a little too loose with it.
Oh,
So
Radic, yeah.
yeah, a little erratic. So I like the pairing of Ty Lue and him. I think Ty Lue could like bring him in, not to make
Hmm.
him just like be so loose with the ball. He's the point guard coming off the bench behind Westbrook. And speaking of Westbrook, he signed a veteran minimum in the offseason. I think it was for like $2 million.
Yeah, we got him cheap.
Yeah, which I'm definitely gonna want to hear your thoughts about that because I remember you telling me after the playoff loss, you were like, "What are we gonna do? Sign Westbrook?"
Because he's the
Okay.
savior, right?
Right. Okay. So as far as the amount of games that Kawhi played last season,
50-ish.
he played 57, which actually is a lot
Yeah.
higher. Is a lot higher than I expected. You want to guess how many games Paul George played?
47.
No, it's one game less, 56. The okay, so this is the end of their season. They have a player option for next season, 2024, 2025. But it's interesting because we didn't hear anything about the Clippers this past summer extending trying to offer an extension. So basically that means the Clippers are just waiting it out, just see how this season is going to play because they could offer it after this season ends and before any team can. But it's just interesting how they both have player options at the end of this season and the Clippers didn't offer anything. So I'm just saying maybe the Clippers are getting tired of this shit, bro.
I mean, can you blame him for not extending?
Yeah.
So far, this is what, year five?
This is the
Okay,
fifth
so yeah,
season.
this is fifth season. Yeah, it's fifth season. So, and so far it hasn't really amounted to anything besides a Western Conference Finals appearance and a lot of what ifs. You know, what if Kawhi doesn't go down when Joe Ingles bumps him in the semifinals of Game 5 against Utah? What if, Game 4, sorry. And, you know, what if we had a full roster and we were able to face the Suns and, you know, and then the year after was, well, last year was a big what if year because they had all this hype. They had me buying into it. They had everyone buying into it. They had all this depth. This was a team to finally break through, and it was kind of a disaster. The team was so inconsistent. Guys were in and out of lineups. You know, even playing 57 games for Kawhi and 56, I think you said for Paul George. Like that's actually pretty good. That's what I expect. Like that's how many games I expect them to play this year as well. But I remember last year was so frustrating because I'd watched like a lot of the games because I had a lot of high hopes for them to like really be a championship contender. They just looked out of sync. They looked like they never got any chemistry. They had all these pieces. It's like Ty Lue didn't know who to start and who to play because he had such a deep roster on paper that like
Right.
I felt like Ty Lue just wasn't doing a good job with rotations and it felt really
But
I
how
don't know if
much? But I
there's
don't. But can you put the blame on Ty Lue? Like you look at the
I,
situation he's in. His two building blocks for the team. I get it. Like whatever you want to say about Kawhi and Mr. Load Management, I get it. But like he's faced with those options. He can only do with what he has. So when the team doctors or whatever, when they tell him that like, yo, listen, you guys need to sit in Kawhi and Paul George because this is the third game in 4 nights, yada yada yada. Ty Lue's the only option he has is to sit him down, and then he has to look at his bench, and then he has to put other players in. So like I just feel bad for Ty Lue because it's like when is the consistency going to come into play, bro?
I get it, and that's and the consistency aspect. Like I get that's not his part. I mean, it's not his fault. You know, injuries happen, and obviously with Kawhi and PG being in and out of lineup so often, it's consistent. You're gonna have issues with consistency. It's but like any real Clipper fan who's watched every game knows Ty Lue makes some questionable calls sometimes. They know sometimes his defensive and offensive schemes are predictable, especially offensively. Sometimes he's really predictable, and sometimes you feel like defenses just know how to match up against them. Sometimes he also has Marcus Morris starting, even though Marcus Morris is on a terrible cold streak. And Nick Batum is balling and should obviously be the starter. Or you see great flashes of Robert Covington, but Robert Covington doesn't get any play unless the Clippers are either up by 40 or down by 40. So, yeah, he just makes some questionable calls sometimes in his starting lineups, and he'll play Zubac like super long, and Zubac would get tired. And we never really had a backup center until Mason Plumlee was
That's
acquired
the
via
thing.
trade. Before that, he would just fucking ride Zubac so hard into the fourth. By the time halfway through the fourth, Zubac would be gassed, and he'd get eaten up by whatever center they were playing. So I think any Clipper fan who's seen all the games knows that Ty Lue isn't a perfect coach and that he has questionable moments where you're kind of like, fuck, what the fuck is Ty doing? Like, why didn't he just play? Like, you have all this depth. Let Terrence Mann get some run. If Reggie Jackson at the time was having a bad game or Norm Powell was having a bad game, let Terrence Mann, let Amir Coffey, let some of these young guys get some run because they might bring the energy. And that's not a problem. A lot of times the starting lineups always be like the old dudes, and they'd have to play catch up because in the first quarter they'd get outscored by like 40 points because they're not matching the energy of like a Minnesota Timberwolves or a Sacramento Kings. They would just get run out in the first quarter. And so sometimes you think, well, when you face the younger teams, maybe let's start with a younger lineup and see if they can match that energy. So um a lot of the issues that the Clippers have had aren't completely on Ty Lue, but I think he does deserve some of the blame.
Mm,
We can talk about it again like mid-season because right now, honestly, I haven't thought about the Clippers in so long.
right, 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 right.
Like I totally forgot that basketball season started today. Like
Yeah.
and the Clippers, they play their first game tomorrow. And like the excitement, this is the first year that I haven't been like excited to watch like the Clippers just because of everything that's happened. Like,
Well,
you
welcome to
know,
the club, buddy. Nah, but I wanted to speak on something that you were talking about a little earlier. You were talking about the starting positions. So the projected starting five for this Clipper team, you got Westbrook at the one, you got
mhm.
PG-13 at the two, you got Terrence Mann at three, small forward, and Kawhi is probably going to be the starting power forward, and Zubac will be the center. Now, as far as coming off the bench, um, Bones Highland will be the first point guard coming off the bench. Norman Powell will be coming off the bench as far as the shooting guard. For small forward, is you got Kenyon Martin Jr. and you got Marcus Morris Sr. I don't know, like you were just saying about Ty Lue playing Marcus Morris whenever he's going in his cold streaks. So I don't know how that's going to be because Kenyon Martin is a young player in this league. I think he's going into like his third season or maybe
Yeah,
fourth
he's
season.
young,
And I feel like Ty Lue, he likes more experienced players, older players. Is that
which
fair
kind
to
of reminds me
say?
of Doc. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. He would start Marcus every night, and there was a period from like December to like March where Marcus was just like he'd have a couple games and hit a couple jumpers and like maybe some 7, 10 points, maybe I think 15. But a lot of times he would get eaten up on defense and offensively he just wasn't providing anything. And you were just wondering, okay, when are we gonna let Nick Batum get run? When are we gonna let like Robert Covington get run? And it didn't happen. So I feel like
Yeah.
Ty can be a little stubborn with his lineups, which is kind of annoying.
No, but that makes sense because he was Doc's like lead assistant for all those years, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. As far as the power forwards coming off the bench or listed as power forwards, you got Robert Covington and you got Nicholas Batum. Nicholas Batum, yo, like you could say you can make an argument that Batum was actually one of the better players last season.
He was.
Yeah, and then the backup center for Zubac, you got Mason Plumlee, like you just mentioned. So I mean, you guys have the talent, man. It's just always the same shit with you guys, bro. And it's just Kawhi. Whenever he's healthy, he's one of the best players. But it's always whenever he's healthy. Same thing with Paul George. And I mean, obviously, you know my stance. I've been out on the Clippers ever since they signed. When they signed to go to the Clippers, I was just like, this is not it. This duo is not it. I don't know why. It just didn't meet. It didn't move the needle. It didn't speak to me. And unfortunately, within the last 5 seasons, you guys have one Western Conference Finals appearance to show for it.
To still
And
win in our book, but granted,
But with
it's
that kind
not
of
it's not
talent,
the
bro, you
ultimate
guys
goal.
with that kind of talent, just Paul George and Kawhi alone, since Kawhi has led this team to the championships, in Toronto, and then winning a championship with San Antonio Spurs, weren't you expecting at least a finals appearance?
Yeah, at the very least, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying winning it, but at least a finals appearance.
Yeah. No,
No?
I think we definitely all expected at least a finals appearance. And I think I've said this before. If this group is to break up next year or whatever, I think we could still hang our hat on the fact that they got to a Western Conference final and kind of got that monkey off our back. But no, ultimately, no, that wasn't the goal, and it would be considered like a failure, maybe not a complete failure, but it would be considered a failure.
I was gonna say, so like, okay, so where do you see this team falling at the end of the season? Do you see them being in the top six? Do you see them being seven through 10, where they have to be in the play-in, or do you see them? I mean, I think it'll be a huge surprise if they don't make the play-in either. But what if this could easily happen? What if Kawhi gets hurt and Paul George gets hurt and they're just fucked and they don't even make it in the play-in, bro? Like, where do you have them landing by the end of the season?
Oof. Well, I mean, it could go a couple ways. So I think with the talent that they have, I think they should at least be able to make the top six. I think that would be like a reasonable expectation. I know the West is loaded with teams, but I think with the
The West is
combination of
crazy, bro.
experience, yeah, and that's the other thing. It's also been like the West has just been so stacked in recent years, and especially now with young and old talent. So I think it's reasonable to say a top six finish is reasonable, but I wouldn't be surprised if they end up in the play-in. I think if they end up in the play-in, they don't get out of the play-in for whatever reason. It's just like I don't know. Every time they're in the play-in, they can't win a game.
Put it on
Um,
wax. What did you text me last week, bro? Put it on wax.
okay, I was being a little like extra. I think you texted me. What was it, Friday night or Friday? With
You said
a
ninth place finish, playing
42
appearance,
and 42. Yeah,
42-42, and you said a playing exit.
and playing exit.
Damn, bro. That's how the Kawhi and PG-13 experience is gonna end,
Just
bro.
because you can't rely on them. If now let's say hypothetically, like Kawhi, and by the time we get to playoffs, Kawhi and PG haven't had any huge significant injuries where they haven't had to miss a significant amount of time. I think they should finish top six. Do I think that's going to happen? If I was to put money on it, would I bet on that? No, of course not, because PG and Kawhi are so inconsistent that you can't really take their word for anything
So
because
you're just
something's
out.
always gonna. I am out. Like I said, like I
You're
I
just
after
out,
that
bro.
season, I got so much other shit going on in my life, and like I'm trying to like manage my time better. And I just realized like over the years, I've wasted so much time and resources and energy into the Clippers that
This is kind of breaking
after
my
last
heart. I'm not
season,
gonna lie, man, because I
no, like
remember.
I'm still a fan. This is their last season in Staples, and so I still want to go to a couple more games because I do like Staples Center's closer to me to where I live in LA because I live in the Northeast side. So like
Of course.
Staples is closer than having to go all the way to fucking Inglewood to go see a game. So I do want to see a couple more games at Staples Center, and I hope they do well. I'm gonna try to watch as many games as I can. I'm not gonna watch every game religiously like I usually do. Um, and
Damn.
it's because they have to prove to me that they're worth the time and effort, and they haven't done that. Last year was a disaster of a season, but I know there's a lot of renewed hope with Russ. I know you wanted to hear what I thought about them signing Russ. I mean, I guess it's a good deal because he's coming for the low, but like
Low
I don't
low.
know, I don't know how much Russ really adds to the offense. I don't know. I'm not a huge basketball nerd, so I can't really dissect his gameplay and say, oh, everyone says, oh, he'll get the ball to Kawhi and PG, and this is exactly what they need. But man, I saw Russ in the playoffs, and yeah, he has a lot of heart and energy, but he also bricks, bro, and bad turnovers. And I just, in any sport, I hate turnovers the most. I fucking hate turnovers. Like if you turn over the ball, that's very annoying. And
Well,
so
did you hear
Russ,
that? Did you hear that quote that Ty Lue said that like when Westbrook came to the team last year, we finally found our leader. And when he said that, it was kind of
I
interesting
can see
because
that.
yeah, I can see that too. But it's interesting because most people, like general basketball fans, they associate the best player on the team as being the leader on the team, which is actually not it. So the best player
Mm-hmm.
on your team, air quotes, is Kawhi. Best player is Kawhi, but
Yeah.
Kawhi doesn't fucking talk. So how are you going to be? And I get it. There are different expressions of how being a leader. You can lead by example. You can lead by being vocal. I get it. But
Kawhi seems like a dick. Like, I'll just be honest. The interviews I hear, I listen to shout out
yeah,
to podcast P because I've been listening to his pod. And the story he told of how like there's like a tradition that if you airball a free throw or something, you have to go like run down the court and come back. And
Mhm.
how, or if you miss a free throw, or if you miss something, I forgot what the story was exactly, but essentially he missed a shot, and then he didn't want to go run with the team, like he didn't want to do. He's like, I'm not gonna do it. He's like, I'm
Oh
gonna miss
shit.
shots. Like it's part of the game. And I don't know. I just the vibe I've gotten from interviews and stuff about Kawhi, he just wants the ball and just shut the fuck up. Like he doesn't care about being like a team leader. He doesn't care about the camaraderie. Like I just
Right.
think he's just there to because he loves the game and doesn't care about anyone else.
And that's why that quote from Ty Lue kind of stuck out to me, saying that Westbrook is our leader and he's been such a great influence. And like I see, yeah, I can see it because he has so much experience, and like the last couple years have been hell for him with the Lakers. But like these last couple like quotes that's been coming out on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, I just see like nothing but like positive things that he's saying. So like he is a leader, and he's a fucking former MVP, averaging a triple double, like the first time since Oscar. So he has a lot to offer to the game. But at this point, like I'm just I'm worried for you guys that you guys are just depending on Westbrook a lot more than you should. You guys should just be depending on Westbrook just to give you that solid starting point guard, like, and setting everybody up. But I feel like it's hard. It's hard to fucking gauge you guys, bro, because you just never know with Kawhi and Paul
Yeah.
George, and it's like it could be something so much more, but there's always that fucking like monkey on your back of like, if there's Kawhi gonna play today, is Paul George gonna get injured today, and it's like, fuck, man, you just like never gonna. I just like,
You
yeah,
seem more stressed than I am.
it's just
See,
frustrating.
I've already been through my grief. I've already been through the 5 stages of grief. I'm now at acceptance, like I've already done the denial, I've done the bartering, I've done
Mhm.
the anger and frustration. I've already gone through all those stages. Now I'm at acceptance. Like I think best case scenario for this team, they seem to play better when they have low expectations. When they have high expectations, for some reason the pressure gets to the team and they do terribly. So they have very low expectations. Nobody's talking about them because everyone's saying what we're saying. Well, it's all big if Kawhi and PG are healthy. So no one's suspecting that they'll be good. So maybe with the low expectations, they'll maybe perform, maybe get to a fourth, maybe no, I don't see him getting to a third seed, but you never know. So maybe a fourth or fifth seed, and then maybe make some noise in the playoffs. But I definitely don't see a championship. Unless this team suddenly becomes a team they were always meant to be, with Norm Powell being a good six man, with Terrence Mann being a good defender and a good rebounder and offensive energy guy, and if Russ can really get the ball to Kawhi and PG to get them to their spots and make those shots, like I
This
mean,
is
maybe. I definitely don't think they're a contender. Not in this West Coast conference.
But and I also this is gonna bring me to another point where I'm so interested to hear your thoughts, even though I kind of think I know what you're gonna say. But this is something the Clippers, what they know to do, I just feel like they have some bad juju, some bad karma or whatever,
Tell me
because
about it.
they just know how to make things harder for themselves. And the
Hmm.
reason why I'm saying that, have you heard about these trade rumors about the guy in Philadelphia?
Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah. I've heard. Oh my God, when I heard that over the summer, I was like, if James Harden comes
Why?
to this team, I don't fucking know.
Why?
I don't know. But
And
they didn't do it. They
they're
didn't do it
still,
for a reason.
but they're still in talks. Just like Stephen A. and First Take and Brian Windhorst and
Oh,
Adrian
really?
Wojnarowski,
Yeah.
they're still in talks. And the only thing that's holding up the deal is Terrence Mann. The Clippers don't want to give up Terrence Mann in the pick.
And they
I mean,
shouldn't.
in the trade, and they shouldn't. But this is why I get frustrated because I just don't understand teams nowadays. Like, why are you gonna even entertain a trade for a guy who's quit on 3 teams, bro? And on top of that, when the pressure raises up, he doesn't show up. What the fuck is it about James Harden that these teams they always find a way to like put their names in the fucking race? Why are you trying to get someone who does not show up in the playoffs?
I What I'm thinking is like if they can get him for the low, like if they could get him for like an Amir Coffee and I don't know, a Nick Batum, then why not? Because if it doesn't work, it's like the John Wall thing last year. Like John Wall, they didn't really pay much. They didn't give up much to get John Wall. It was kind of those, if it works, great. If it doesn't, we waive him. So
I feel
fuck
like you
it.
had to John Wall dirty, yo. I feel like you guys didn't give him enough
Nah,
of
he
a
was
chance.
terrible. He was like trying so hard to be like old John Wall, and he was like missing layups. He couldn't shoot the three for shit. He still had that boost of speed, like you saw it, but he would just miss layups, man, like over and over. It's like, bro, the fuck are you missing layups? Like, so
Yeah,
nah, we didn't do him dirty. I watched almost every game, and I had a huge because I loved him in Connecticut. Well, no, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah, it was Kentucky. Yeah, I loved him when he was at Kentucky, and he just wasn't a good fit. So
Hmm.
I'm assuming if they can get him for the low, sure, let's try out James Harden. And if he sucks, then all right, no
Are
big
you
deal.
serious? Are you serious? I wouldn't.
If we
Yo,
give if we give
no.
him up for the low,
No, no, I don't care if it's Nicholas Batum and the fucking mascot and Clipper Darrell. I
nah,
don't
not the
care.
mask. Nah, leave Kipper there out of it. Nah, no
No,
trade.
bro, this is what it always happens. This is the reason why he gets his way. Why? Oh man,
But he can still, like we saw in the playoffs, he can still get like a 40-point performance in one playoff game. If you can get that out of him for one game,
what
and
the
that's the
fuck is
difference,
one 40-point game gonna do for you in the playoffs, bro?
it's one playoff win. One more closer to four.
But then he fucking hibernates after he shows
Then
up.
sub him out. That's what I'm saying.
But then you're dealing with the fucking ego. He obviously has an ego.
Yeah, he has a crazy ego the way he
You
treats the
you think
teams he
you
plays on.
you think he'll be fine by like having an amazing game and then like the next game he's fucking shooting bricks and then Ty Lue just benches his ass? No, he's gonna get pissed and then he's gonna want to request out like he always does. Like I mean, listen,
I mean,
man,
how many more chances is he gonna get? Like,
I don't know, but you know my stance on James Harden. I've never been a James Harden fan. I never
yeah, I'm not
will
a big
be.
James Harden guy either. So, but I mean, I hope they don't trade for him. And when I've heard in the summer, I was like, this is why we're a trash ass team because we entertain ideas like this. But I mean, I'm glad they didn't do it because no, giving up Terrence Mann for James Harden is a stupid move. Like,
The proposed trade was Terrence Mann and a few, maybe like a couple future round picks. I'm not sure if another player was thrown in there, but as far as like just that proposed trade, Terrence Mann and maybe like 2 or 3 future first round picks. I'm saying no.
no, we already gave up enough picks for Paul George, and we need to start because if this season ends how I suspect it will, like either a loss in the play-in or a first round exit, then we got to start thinking for the future post Kawhi and PG. We're gonna be in a brand new arena. Hopefully, they can get some young guys, and who are some young guys, maybe a new coach,
And this is
and
the reason why, and this is the reason because obviously I listen to other podcasts, and this is the reason why they're entertaining the James Harden trade because they're going into a new building next year, and like what they're going into a new building and they need to like bring some sort of like marquee, like, oh, we have Paul George, Kawhi, and James Harden. And I'm just like, like that's the reason why you guys are entertaining this. Like, why don't you guys just
I
like?
don't think so.
I mean,
I mean,
hopefully not.
I think that's why they haven't like really made a strong effort to trade Paul George and Kawhi because they want, to have the stars move into the arena just to bring some excitement to the team. But I listen to a few Clipper podcasts and, I keep track of like the message boards and the comments on Instagram. Clipper fans are fed up. They know we've all seen what's happened in the past 4 years, and we're all very disappointed. So we're not all big believers either. And I mean, we could really care less like whether you have Kawhi, Paul, like I'm still only going to go to maybe like one game next year in Inglewood, unless they win the championship, then yeah, that's a ton of excitement. And then you want to go to a ton of games. But bringing James Harden isn't going to move the needle from me going to one game to me going to two. So, um, yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't see how he fits. I don't see it. You got all these crazy ball handlers and shooters on one team, and it's just like I don't see
They're
the
gonna
fit.
they're gonna try the Westbrook James Harden connection again, and it didn't work in Houston. And unfortunately, I mean, they didn't really
How
get a
old?
chance to see if it works in Oklahoma City, but
How old is that? Like, dude, how old would that team be? Like, Jesus, you got James Harden, who's old as shit. You got Russell Westbrook, Kawhi, and PG. That's crazy.
they're all in their mid-30s, right?
If we give up
Wow.
Marcus Morris for James Harden, I'll take it. I'll do that.
Just
I'll do
a
that.
1v1.
Yeah, fuck it.
That's
Isn't Morris from
crazy.
Philly or something? Let him go back to Philly.
I know they went to Kansas for college, but I don't know where they're from. But all right, yo. So listen, just give me your gut feeling as far as like, do you think this is the season where it finally comes together as far as Kawhi playing consistently, as far as PG-13 playing consistently, as far as no fucking injuries going into the playoffs, as far as no injuries in the playoffs, and we finally get to see what the potential of this duo is, and we get to see it finalized. Do you think we're
Gut
gonna
feeling? No. Gut feeling.
something's gonna happen?
But yeah, something always happens. Gut feeling, no. But just to not make the entire pod like super negative and poo poo,
Hmm.
I'll talk about some more positive aspects of the season that I've heard other Clipper people talk about. Ty Lue said it last season after they got eliminated. The Clippers have not lost a playoff series when Kawhi and PG have played, and it's true. They have when Kawhi and PG are together, they haven't lost a series. Now, how many series is that? That's you know
Wait,
what?
what about the 3-1 series in Denver in the bubble? They lost that.
Oh, I think no. The caveat was that they hadn't lost a playoff series with Ty Lue coaching. That's what it was. It was Ty Lue as head coach
Uh,
hasn't lost a playoff series with Kawhi and PG. That's what it was. That's what I was missing.
yeah, that makes a lot
So,
more
which
sense.
is which is true, which is true. But I think that's only been what 4 playoff series wins. Yeah. So the idea is that if they can somehow get to the playoffs healthy, they should be able to beat any team in front of them. And I think if you look at all the teams in the West, there isn't one team where I'm like, damn, like Clippers will get swept by them if we had a full squad. I think they could compete with any full squad in a 7 game series in the West if they were healthy themselves. So there's no like juggernaut that I'm like, damn, that's just like a wrap. Like it doesn't even matter. So I think they could compete in any series against any team. But the question is, are they going to be healthy? And that has proven that it's not. So
No,
so we'll see. But
no. I was gonna say it's no. It's interesting how you bring up a really good topic. Like let's get away from all the Clippers getting in their own way shit. Kawhi getting injured, PG-13 getting injured, all that shit. Now let's take a look at the rest of the West and the rest of the league. The fucking rest of the league is actually a lot. They're better. We got
mm,
Phoenix. We got Bradley Beal going to Phoenix, pairing up with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. We got the Denver Nuggets, who everybody is not fucking talking about as far as repeating.
no one's
Jokic,
respecting.
nobody's still respecting them. Jokic is the best player in the world, or he's number two, whichever one you have him in your list. He's definitely one or two. You got the Golden State Warriors with the addition of Chris Paul. We don't know what that's gonna look like. It could work or it couldn't. It's really gonna depend a lot on the big three. But you have all these different factors. You got Sacramento coming on. You got fucking who else? Minnesota. You never know with Minnesota. Rudy Gobert, Cat,
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is fucking. He might take that leap this year after playing in the summer in the World Cup games. Like there's so many fucking things going on. Dallas with Luca and Kyrie, even though it's kind of a little bit of a joke. But like it's just like after the Clippers, after you guys deal with everything that you guys have to deal with, now you guys got to deal with the rest of the talent in the league. And the fucking we didn't talk about your brother's favorite team, the Lakers. The Lakers got
Oh, the
better, man.
Lakers.
Lakers got better,
Yeah,
yo.
no, I do respect it. Ever since the trade deadline, they've actually made some pretty good moves. Now, whether these moves work or not, I have yet. Did they win today? Do you know who won?
Yeah, no, Denver won. They
Again,
won
like
117 to 109, I believe, if I remember the score correctly.
yeah. Well, the Lakers, like it remains to be seen. Obviously, you got LeBron James, but how does the rest of that team play? How does Austin Reeves play now that he has a big check and he has all this hype? Like how I don't know. The Lakers is still like a got to see to believe type of thing. But yeah, and
No,
you
I'm with
mentioned a
you. Yeah,
great, and we didn't even mention like the Pelicans or Brandon Ingram. Like they've proven, to be like a pretty solid team, and
that's
we
another
didn't even
guy.
mention
Zion being healthy.
Memphis.
Oh, that's another team. John Moran
Yeah,
dealing with his shit, and then we just mentioned
yeah.
the Lakers. I mean, there's always that AD injury talk.
Hmm.
It's so many fucking teams. It's like you're right. You said something that like there's not this one team that you can like solidify pick to come out the West. Is that every team has a little
Yeah.
bit of a hiccup. Every team has a little bit
Hmm.
of a question mark. And yeah, I include the Clippers in that, bro. The Clippers question
For
mark is
sure.
just consistency and injuries, and anything can happen. But man, it's just yeah, whatever. We
I
just
think, now that I think about it, I think Denver is the one team that I'm like, fuck. Like, I think that Denver's one team that ever since the bubble has had the Clippers number regular
right.
season. Like they get destroyed by the Nuggets. So I think that is the one team that like I would not want to face in the playoffs until like maybe Western Conference Finals. But like, but yeah, so I think if the Clippers can just somehow keep their head above water in the conference and get to a 6 seed, I think the play-in, which is I think that's too much pressure on too early on that type of team. And they've already proven that mentally, like they're not very mentally strong, especially like Paul George and guys like I feel like Kawhi has that, but like guys like Paul George and the rest of the team, like I just feel like they're not mentally strong. And when you put them in a play-in game, like right away, they just 2 years in a row they've kind of folded. So if they can get to like a top 6 seed and they can match up with like a Sacramento, Golden State, or even a Phoenix, I think like they can make some noise in the playoffs until they have to play at Denver. So I think it just depends on if they can stay healthy. But I mean, we didn't even talk about guys like Brandon Boston, the Mere Coffee. Brandon Boston is like a Jordan Clarkson waiting, not Jordan Clarkson. Who's the dude from Golden State? The one who got punched in the
Jordan
face by
Poole.
Draymond? Jordan Poole. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So who's on Utah now, right? Or Washington? Yeah, he's on
Washington.
Washington. Okay. So yeah, Brandon Boston Jr. is like a Jordan Poole waiting to happen. But like he doesn't get a lot of minutes and it's actually starting to frustrate him from what I've heard because he had a great rookie season with the Clippers. He did well in the Agua Caliente. And then last year he got barely any run because the team was so stacked and that he was getting a little frustrated. And so I think if he can step in for like instead of who did we say is this in the second starting lineup? It's Norman Powell. So if like I think if he can get some run instead of Norman Powell, I think we can see Brandon Boston really like blossom into a really good player, but he just doesn't get enough playing time to really see it. So the team is still stacked on paper. It's just how does it all work? A lot of the team is old. Can Ty Lue just find a nice combination of old and young and balance it out throughout the season so people aren't hurt or people aren't like low on energy whenever they get to the finals? I mean, to the playoffs. So we'll see. But again, the Clippers have the most back to backs out of any NBA team again. And like their schedule is tough again. They have a lot. I think they have the second most games before the All Star break. Like I don't know why they always get fucked in the scheduling, but they say it's because of Staples. Because Staples they give them like the last. They are the last priority when it comes to scheduling. Lakers are first, Kings are second, and then the Clippers come next. So they
That's
always get like the worst
crazy.
time slots. Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
wild.
And another interesting thing is that we mentioned all these fucking teams. We didn't even talk about the East. We talk about Damian Lillard going to Milwaukee, Boston picking up Drew Holiday. Like, I
Am
mean,
I the
and
only one who doesn't care about Dame? Like I'm so over Dame. Like every year bitching about shit and then
when you say you don't
talking shit.
care, like you mean like you don't really think that's gonna work with him and Giannis? Like, what do you mean?
I think it could work. I don't care in that like I'm like shut the fuck up, Dame. Like every year you bitch about how other players are leaving teams to go form championship teams, and you stood on this pedestal of like, like oh like that's never gonna be me or that's not me. I'm gonna ride it out, and then you act like a bitch, and or now you don't act like a bitch, but he was like bitching all off season about oh trade me this and that, and
Right.
I just, like Dame is a great player and he has a lot of good moments, but I just think like, bro, shut, like I don't care. Like
He has the pressure now.
I don't think he's gonna win
He
a ring. Do you
see,
think it's gonna work?
I don't know, bro, because he has Giannis next to him. Like that shit looks scary, bro. A pick and roll, pick and pop.
Yeah.
You can't double team anybody anymore. You can't double team Dame. Giannis is gonna throw it on your head. You double team Giannis, he just kicks it out for Dame, and Dame's a fucking great shooter.
Yeah, and I guess like there's no juggernaut in the East when you really think about it. I mean, Miami's always going to be a competitive team. Boston's going to be Boston. Um, and
I
then
mean,
you got the Sixers who are going to be the Sixers, you know. So I guess like definitely like if you're picking the East right now, I guess
if
yeah,
it,
Milwaukee and Dame is like a good choice.
yeah, the East is not really. It's not like the West. The East is pretty much like Boston and Milwaukee, and then you got like after that, in my opinion, you got Philly. Philly's always a mess. Miami's always gonna be there. They're always gonna at least make the play in, and then from the play in, you never know what the fuck they're gonna do. But before we sign off, I know this is like just like fast forwarding like fucking 12 months, but give me your finals pick. Give me your finals pick.
Damn, I don't know why this pod has just felt so negative. I gotta find that Clipper energy. I gotta find that
I mean, you're the one that
unreal.
you're the one that admitted that like you're out. So
I know. I'm telling you, this team has just put me through so much.
listen,
It's put
bro,
me.
but listen, you're like by you saying that you're out, like NBA fan, anybody that listens to this podcast and knows what's going on in the NBA, I think they would agree with you. They're not gonna, they wouldn't call you like a fake fan. They wouldn't call you like
No,
they would agree with you because they understand what you've been through these last 4 or 5 seasons. So by you saying that like I don't trust them, there's nothing that you're saying that's like a lie. They've been showing you that they just can't make it through the full season and they can't play in the playoffs. And if you don't have your best players in the playoffs, you're probably not going to go far. So you're just
yeah,
like everything you're talking about, you're just talking about off of what you've seen, off of experiences. It's not something that you're lying to us about. So that's all I gotta
yeah.
say.
No, I definitely don't think I don't feel like a fake fan because I am gonna watch the game against Portland tomorrow. I'm definitely curious to see how they look. I mean, a lot of the Clipper beat writers I follow on X now and not Twitter.
Okay.
Um, they've been talking about how they're in the preseason games, like they've looked really good. I didn't see a single second of any of the preseason games, so I don't know what they're talking about. But I'm curious to see and tomorrow and see what if they lose to Portland. Oh God, that's a bad sign. But I think I think as a Clipper fan, as a diehard Clipper fan, you know, former season ticket holder, I own like 5 jerseys in my closet. Three of the players don't even play on the team anymore. You know, I still rep anywhere I can. Like I still pull up to music festivals in my Clipper jersey. And so I noticed when I was at Coachella, I wore my Kawhi Clipper jersey one of the days, and man, it was like a controversial thing to wear a Clipper jersey at Coachella. I had so many people coming up to me and flaming me for like no reason. I was just taking strays everywhere I was, like literally, like I was chilling, waiting for my girl to get out of the restroom, and these Suns fans at the time, I think the Clippers had already been eliminated at that time. And so these Suns fans are like, "Yeah, Clippers, yeah, suck, like you suck," and like I had Laker fans coming up to me like trolling me. I had Golden State Warrior fans coming up to me trolling me. Like it was crazy.
So you're basically saying Clipper fans, they have a really complicated relationship with Kawhi?
I think so. I think because we had so much hope for that to work. I mean, and how could you really blame us after that amazing Toronto run that we saw him go on with the Raptors? You just thought it was going to be replicated, and it hasn't so far. And all the drama of him coming to the team and dragging Paul George with them, and then losing Shea, and every Clipper fan knows how much excitement we had for Shea because it was like finally a draft pick looks like it's going to work out, and then they just had to get rid of him, and
Crazy.
so it's been definitely a roller coaster, and there's been a lot more lows than there have been highs. But I think this season is really their final year to prove anything to the fan base and to the NBA that it could work. Paul George said that he's what did he say in his pod that
He's on his bully shit. Shut the
he's on
fuck
his
up.
bully shit. Yeah, it's like when he says like weird shit like that, I'm like, Paul, why do you put yourself up to be ridiculed when you say shit like
Like
that?
they didn't build up the equity to talk like that.
I mean,
Like
PG is a nice player. Like he's a good player, and like, but I just feel like with your postseason like history, like bro,
that's
like I
what I'm
just feel like
saying.
you can't put yourself up for like ridicule like that, and you just kind of put yourself in those situations. And but no, like Dario, you have to check out his pod. His pod is really good. I loved his episode with DeMar DeRozan. That episode was really good. The episode they did with Terrence Mann was really good.
I keep wanting to
Um,
watch it, but like I already like watched like the you watched the Gilbert Arenas one?
no, no, I didn't.
The Gilbert Arenas one is fire. They be having like special
Okay.
guests and yeah, they're always arguing and shit. But no, I've seen like clips from the podcast P and
The
they've
Clay
had like
Thompson one was really good. I didn't know
right,
him
that's the
and
one.
Clay were that close and that they grew up playing together in AAU
That's the
with
one where
and
Clay was saying that Devin Booker cooked him last season, right? Like he finally admitted it.
yeah. He's like, I
Yeah.
shouldn't have done the fourth thing. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
I've been meaning to pick up his podcast on YouTube. I just haven't gotten around to it, but
Yeah, I watch it on YouTube because it's funny to see their facial reactions, and I feel like it's a little more like I don't know. I think it's enjoyed better
it's
when
like
you watch it on
personable.
YouTube. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just better, way better to digest. But definitely the Clay Thompson episode is probably the best episode they've done, and it was super cool.
I
So
gotta watch it.
I'm happy that Paul George has kind of found this outlet, to kind of like get his emotions out or talk about the things because he touches on the Dame shot, he touches upon like the bubble, he touches on him breaking his leg and the USA thing, and so it's really cool to see that side of Paul George. I just wish he wouldn't say like I'm on my bully shit. Like, all right, bro, then you better fucking be on your bully shit. And I don't want to see you
Mm,
fucking hitting bricks in the last 5 minutes of the game when we're down by four, or like I want to see you driving to the basket or playing good defense. And I don't know, bro. Like I need to see that shit. So I think a lot of with the Clippers is like I gotta see it to believe it.
no,
Like,
and it's validated, bro. Like you guys have been through fucking heartbreak, but again, like I said, fast forwarding 12 months, give me your finals pick. I mean, I know your heart is saying Clippers in the finals, so that's your heart. But what does your mind tell you? Your
what does my
mind.
mind say? Let's see. I will go Denver and
Denver with the repeat appearance in the finals, huh?
And the Celtics. I'll say Denver and Celtics.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Denver and
yeah.
Celtics. All
I'm
right.
not picking the Lakers. I'll never pick the Lakers.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. Anthony Davis is
Yeah,
just he's just not. I don't know.
Suns. I'm
It's just
not
not him.
sold. I'm
Me
not sold
too.
on the Suns.
Even though
So
Katie's my guy, like you know, but
who's the new coach?
Frank
Who they get?
Vogel. They got
Wow,
Frank
interesting.
Vogel and fucking. It's interesting
Uh,
though because Frank Vogel, he's known as a really good like big man coach, and obviously they had fucking DeAndre Ayton, but then they traded him, and
right.
I kind of wanted to see what DeAndre Ayton was gonna look like under Frank Vogel, but now it's like fuck.
Yeah. So the West is a toss up. So I'll just go Denver as a safe pick. But hey, best believe, yo, if we get to All Star break and the Clippers are in the top three seed,
It means
all that
nothing.
energy, all
It
all
means
that
nothing.
energy, all that promise will be back. All that faith, it will be restored. It will be restored, and I'll be back on my clip bang. What do I say? Clip gang or don't bang shit. I'll be back on it. All right. So if we can get to All Star
Oh.
and we're a top three seed, I'll be back on the train. I'm still on the train. I'm just on the back of the train. I'm not on the front. so, we'll see what happens. But I mean, like I tell everyone when they ask why am I still a Clipper fan, because what do you do when you're a Clipper fan? You ride. You just ride, bro, and you just see what happens. So, because eventually, if and when they make it to the promised land, it'll be the most beautiful day in history, and
In the history of the world.
it'll be such a great day if it ever happens. And I
Oh
hope to
man.
one day see, and it might happen this year. They get their shit together and they just fucking don't get hurt and
What
they
are the
just play.
chances? What are the chances of it happening in the final opportunity? Of course that would happen, bro.
When no one, I'm telling you, they play the best when no one expects them to. So maybe this is what they need. They've been, I read a report that they've been hearing the criticism all summer and that they're ready to prove the world and it's the Clippers against the world. Or yeah, it is the Clippers against the world. Even got your fans like not believing in you. So they gotta do something. But it can't
Um,
be more the same. If it's more the same, all right, let's peace out to Staples Center and get to the new arena and let's start from scratch.
well, I don't wanna leave you hanging. So since I made you do a finals pick, I guess I'll do a finals pick.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go safe. I'm gonna go safe. I'll go Denver. Yeah, I think it's gonna be Boston. I think Milwaukee,
Boston.
they're just Boston. I think Milwaukee, they're just too reliant on um Dame and Giannis. And Chris Middleton is like he's like I think he's injury prone now. Like he's not even playing in the season opener. They lost Drew Holiday. They're relying on like younger guys to step up now. Boston, yeah, you got the two-headed monster, and you picked up Drew. I'm not even talking about Kristaps because Kristaps is not fucking. I don't know what everybody's saying that Kristaps is such a great pickup. I'm like, great. Show me a game where he actually like, give me a season where he played good and the season meant something. Last season with the Wizards, he was just empty stats. It was like you're playing for nothing. So I don't care. You were healthy the whole season, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I think the Drew pickup is way more important and way more bigger than the Kristaps pickup because I don't think Kristaps is going to be able to hold up. Something's going to happen to him. All right, my guy. So we did it. We got our takes out on the Clippers. I'm going to wish you the best of luck for this season. We're obviously going to be talking in the group chat. I will be texting you whenever they lose by 30 to the Brooklyn Nets on a Tuesday night. But yo, before we sign
Yo.
off, before we sign, go ahead. What were you gonna say? My bad.
I was gonna say crazier things have happened. All right, look, everyone's down on the Clippers right now, but the season just started. Let's see where we're at in December. If it's
Facts.
more of the same than we all expected it, if it's something a little different, maybe,
We'll
you
see.
never know.
All right, yo, my guy, talk to me about the Bonus Room podcast.
Ooh.
When are you guys coming back with it?
We're like the writers of Atlanta. We're gonna come back when we want to come back.
I'm dead.
And we don't care, how much our fans want to hear us. No, we definitely have some things in the works. So I think we'll have some episodes coming up. It's just him and I are both really busy working on some other projects at the moment.
Shout out
And
Santiago.
but shout out Santi Almonte. So, but we'll know
Mm,
we'll definitely have a pod soon, and of course we'll have you on, and we'll love to have you in studio one day. If and whenever you come back to LA, let's definitely at least get an episode in. We'll talk about some
100%.
stuff. No, no, but yeah, we'll be posting some stuff soon.
And let everybody know where they can find that. Apple, whatever, wherever.
So we got the Bonus Room podcast on all major streaming platforms. You can see, I think, how many episodes we do? We at least 20. I think
Mm,
maybe 30. I don't remember. We can see a lot of our old episodes. We had a lot of interesting topics of conversation. We talked about growing weed. We talked about what it's like to be a street performer in Hollywood. We really touched on the different topics and interviewed a lot of cool people. So there's still, if you haven't heard some of those episodes, they're worth a listen. But yeah, and you can find us on Instagram at the Bonus Room Podcast. And you can find me at Stefan_Lozano. And yeah, man, I'm glad you're still pushing these things out there. And I do listen to some of them. Like I heard the Blue Beetle one.
my
What
guy.
was the other one?
All right, yo, Steph, I want to say thank you so much, man, for doing this. Miss you guys, love you guys. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for giving me your time and energy. And yeah, we're definitely gonna connect again sooner than later. As far as time flies, you guys know the drill. All the links will be down below in the description for social media. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow this, be a big help. And if you're listening to this on any of the podcast streaming platforms, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. But until next time, we'll check you guys out on the next episode of the Time Flies podcast.